Assalamualaikum and greetings everyone. My name is Alia Batisha and I am from Group Q. Today we will present our group project for BITS2523 Cyber Law course. This is our presentation agenda. We will present the 5 policies that are useful for organization during COVID-19 and MCO, one most useful policy to have with the arguments, and we will present the policy document that consists of these elements. Now let's move to the question one. So the 5 policies that will be useful for organization to have during the COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting MCO is the data protection and privacy policy. This policy focus on how sensitive data is properly handled, stored, transmitted, and disposed of to ensure compliance with privacy regulation, even with employees working offsite. Secondly, we have Bring Your Own Device policy, also known as BYOD policy. So this policy describes the requirement and restriction for employees who use personal devices for work and include security measures like antivirus software and regular updates. Third, we have a remote work policy. This policy emphasizes the broader aspect of off-site working. It includes work expectation, communication standard, deadlines, performance management, and security guidelines. The fourth policy is the security awareness and training policy. This policy concentrates on the need of training initiative and awareness to ensure employees are informed about cyber threats and follow the safe practice. Lastly, we have incident response policies. So these policies explain the procedure for detecting, reporting, responding to security incidents like cyber attacks and data breaches. So the next question is to choose one of the most useful policy to have during COVID-19 and the resulting MCO with a valid argument. So we choose remote work policy because this policy provides a structured approach for remote work by setting clear expectation, communication protocols, and the performance standard. This is important when the entire workforce is working from home. Second, this policy includes the cybersecurity measure like VPN and multi-factor authentication. So this measure can protect sensitive company data from risks that are associated with unsecure home network. Additionally, by implementing this remote work policy, it will help employees to maintain a better work-life balance and also can reduce operational costs for organizations such as rent and utility bills. Now let's move on to the policy document. So the overview of this policy is this policy provide guidelines for employees who are working outside the office environment. It is to make sure that remote work arrangements are structured, secure, and aligned with organizational goals to ensure business continuity during emergency situations such as pandemic of COVID-19 and movement control order (MCO). This policy describes work performance expectations, communication, cybersecurity, and compliance. That's all from me. So I will pass to the next presenter.
My name is Farhana and I will continue with presenting the purpose of this policy. So the purpose of this policy is to maintain the operational flexibility during the pandemic, which has significantly affected many business and organizations. It also aims to provide a clear guidelines for remote work arrangement that support both employee productivity and mental health. Next, the policy must ensure data security and maintain the employee performance while working remotely during the pandemic. Lastly, this policy establishes a clear expectation and secure work practice among business and organization, which help them to adapt effectively to remote work environment. Next is objective. So the objective of this policy, we have 3 objectives, which this policy applies to all full-time, part-time, and contract employees that are authorized to work remotely. Second, all departments and work functions that can be performed off-site. And last, all devices and systems used to access organizational resources remotely. So I will pass to the next presenter.
For the policy part, this policy establishes clear expectations to ensure security, productive, and consistent remote work practices for all authorized employees. First policy is eligibility and approval. Employees may apply for flexibility or remote work arrangements by submitting a formal written request to their supervisor. Approval is granted based on role suitability, employee performance, and operational needs in line with Section 60B of the Employment Amendment Act 2022. Employers are required to respond within 16 days and provide reasons if the request is denied. Second, work hours and availability. Employees who work from home are expected to stick to the hours they agreed to and be reachable through official channels of contact like email, Microsoft Teams, or Zoom during those times. Third one, communication protocols. Staff who work from home must actively participate in virtual meetings, answer messages quickly, and regularly report on the progress of tasks they have been given. All communication linked to work must be done through official company channels. For one, equipment and system access. The BYOD policy says that employees must use company-owned devices or keep their own devices safe. To make sure that security standards are met, users must use a virtual private network (VPN) and multi-factor authentication (MFA) to get into private systems. That the fifth one, data protection and confidentiality. The company's data protection and privacy policy must be followed for all work done from home. When workers store or send confidential documents, they must be encrypted and they should not use public Wi-Fi networks that are not secure without the right protection. For the last policy, home workspace standards. Employees who work from home are responsible for keeping a safe area that supports ergonomic practices and keeps distractions to a minimum so that work gets done.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Yusina Nafika. I will present about policy compliance. Employees must ensure that all employees strictly comply with the remote work policy without exception. Adherence to this policy is essential in order to maintain a consistent, secure and compliant remote working environment that aligns with organizational goals and regulatory standards. Non-compliance with the remote work policy may result in the following consequences depending on the extent of the violation. First, written warning. A formal written warning will be issued to the employee outlining the policy violation. This serves as an official reminder and provides the employee with an opportunity to correct their behavior. Second, loss of remote work privilege. If non-compliance still continues and a written warning has already been given, the employee's remote work access may be revoked. In the instant, the employee is required to return to on-site work in order to continue their work under direct supervision. Third, suspension. For repeated or serious violation, the employee may face a temporary suspension, which they will be relieved of their work and may not receive their payment during the suspension period. Lastly, termination of employment. In cases of severe or repeated violation of the remote work policy, the employee may face termination of their employment contract. That's all.
So the next part is related standards, policies, and processes. For the following documents and frameworks are integral to support the implementation and governance of this remote work policy. First, information security policy articulates the organization's commitment to safeguarding information assets through establishes controls such as authentication protocols, access restrictions, and risk mitigation measures. This ensures data integrity and security in remote work environments. Second, data protection and privacy policy, which is outlines procedures for managing personal and sensitive information in accordance with applicable data protection laws, including consent management, data handling, and confidentiality assurance during off-site work. Next, bring your own device (BYOD) policy. It specifies the security requirements and operational guidelines for employees using personal devices for organizational tasks. This includes complying with encryption standards, endpoint protection, and multi-factor authentication. Next, acceptable use policy. It defines acceptable behaviors and prohibited practices concerning the use of organizational IT resources, thereby mitigating risks related to misuse and ensuring ethical conduct among remote employees. The last one is cybersecurity incident response procedures. Provides a structured protocol for identifying, reporting, and responding to cybersecurity threats. These procedures are essential for maintaining business continuity and preserving data security in remote or hybrid work settings.
Hi, my name is Anata Simaranapura. I am going to present revision history. Our organization revision history is made from remote work policy. It shows how the policy was developed step by step from first draft until final version. Start with version 0.1. On June 10, 2025, HR department developed initial draft of policy and identification of policy needs. Next, 0.2 version on June 13, 2025. HR department added structure, overview, purpose, and scope. Third, 0.3 version on June 17, 2025, HR and IT Department completed policy compliance and technical requirements for VPN and MFA. Fourth version 0.4 on June 17, 2025, HR Department inserted related standards, policies and processes, and definition and terms. Fifth is 0.5 version on June 18, 2025. HR Department do final editing, alignment with organization guidelines. And lastly, for the final version 1.0 on June 20, 2025, final version is approved for organizational use during MCO period, and this is done by the department HR and management. So the final version was completed and approved on 20 June 2025. It is ready to be implemented in our organization for future flexible works or emergency situation. That's all from me. Thank you.